is the 1st of August, the deadline that has now ended, and it is Donald Trump's reciprocal tariff threat that has now kicked in. As he has unveiled this new tariff plan, the reciprocal taxes for over 70 nations, as India faces nearly 25% tariffs, Pakistan 19%, Bangladesh and Vietnam to pay 20%, Canada tariff that has been raised from 25% to 35%. This seems to be, as far as when it comes to tariff bomb that he seems to have dropped on multiple nations. Of course, he has come out with multiple nations that featured in the list previously. But when we speak of tariffs, now he's been also signing the order for the new tariffs when it comes to on dozens of countries that has now come in, and now it comes into effect as far as signing the executive order for new tariffs on dozen economies, which is set to go into effect in 7 days. So let's get in a word from Sharad, who is connected with us right now. Sharad, good morning. When we speak of the reciprocal tariffs there, of course, this is something, as Donald Trump has been talking about, a trade deficit, especially when it comes to India as well. But previously, when we have seen these tariff threat announcements that were done by Donald Trump, he seems to be increasing the tariff rate with those countries who, in fact, retaliated.
Good morning, Pratibha. Good morning to the viewers of Times Now. I think this is a self-destructive move from an economic point of view, if you ask me, because trade deficit is a natural evolution between the two countries. You know, the trade develops over decades. You make something nice, I make something nice, you make it cheaper, I make it cheaper. That's how trade evolves. I don't know why President Trump is so concerned about trade deficits. And in a situation where America is no more a manufacturing base, so it has to get goods from other countries for the people of America. And worst of all is that it is going to fuel inflation in America. And, you know, a couple of days ago, the Fed chairperson, Jerome Powell, did not increase the rates. In fact, FOMC voted in majority not to increase the interest rates because there is fear of inflation hovering over America at this point of time. This is categorically speaking of the fact that these tariffs are going to fuel inflation in America. As for India is concerned, I don't think for us America is the end of the world. I think India has always made an opportunity out of a crisis, and we are still going to do that. We saw the statement made by the Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal. India is the fastest developing economy, and in this situation, for him to call India as a dead economy is ridiculous. I think calling India Russia as dead economy for that matter, and if he wants to blacklist India because of India importing energy and defense equipment, well, I think I must state here for the viewers of Times Now that America by itself, from January to July, has imported $2 billion of selective goods from Russia. So what kind of sanctions are these? What kind of hatred is this?
Absolutely, Sharad, because as far as Donald Trump is concerned, there has been a lot of back and forth that seems to be happening with his continuous statements that he seems to be making. But thank you very much for joining in. Appreciate your perspective. We have Sumita also connected with us here on the broadcast. Mr. Fabian is also connected with us. Mr. Fabian, good morning, sir. I'll just come to you in just a bit because I need to get in a word from Sumita as well. Sumita, when we speak, on the tariffs that have now been imposed on India, 25% tariff, he's sticking to it. But what about those additional penalties which Trump had threatened to impose on India for doing business with Russia? However, that still remains unclear.
Absolutely. There is clarity to be arrived at as far as that is concerned. There's clarity to be arrived at on what's going to happen on the additional levies with respect to India's energy trade with Russia. But what we're given to understand from a post of Donald Trump on Truth Social is the fact that he signed an executive order and he's imposed reciprocal tariffs that range from 10% to 41% in over 70 countries. And this is something that he describes as as trying to fix long-standing imbalances in trade practices. So the United States has raised this tariff percentage on Canada as well from 25% to now 35%. This is in response to what the administration actually described as Canada's failure to act on the illicit drug crisis. There are other countries as well which have been involved in that. Like I said, there's Pakistan, also Malaysia, Indonesia, Cambodia, Philippines, Thailand have been imposed with a 19% tariff. Then there are others like Brazil, United Kingdom, Falkland Islands, 10%, European Union, 15%. So this is essentially what we're given to understand. This is preliminary information that is emerging. definitely it seems like as of now, until a deal is arrived at between both the sides, India is sort of really at a disadvantage when we talk about countries in its neighborhood, because those countries have a lesser penalty.
All right. Sumita, I appreciate you joining us. Thank you very much for that point of view. Mr. Fabian, now diplomatically speaking, because on the dead economy term, I mean, this is coming time and again from Donald Trump. As I said, there has been a lot of back and forth. But it was the Union Commerce Minister on the floor of the House yesterday in Parliament defended the record on FTAs after Donald Trump called India a dead economy.
Good morning to you. Well, it is ridiculous to call India a dead economy, but at the same time, we should understand that Trump does not choose his words carefully, and that he is, if I may say so, above facts. Let me give you one example. He has been repeating ad nauseum that United States had given Ukraine $350 billion. Now, if you go to the website of the State Department, the figure is less than half of that. So he doesn't care for facts, and he doesn't choose his words carefully. And we should not get too emotional and go on reacting to his statements. We should be a little more prudent and discreet. Second point is that Trump has embarked on a journey to his Waterloo. But that will take a little time. But meanwhile, he can do a lot of harm. Thirdly, we have to take care of our interests. And I'm glad to see the government of India saying that we shall take care of our national interest. Now, there I want to make one more point, that till now, some of our spokespersons have been saying the agreement is going to be there tomorrow, day after. That showed an anxiety on our part, a desperation on our part, which Trump is exploiting.
All right. It seems because quickly they have picked up, as far as the opposition in India is concerned, on the dead economy charge that has been leveled by Donald Trump. Mr. Fabian, thank you very much for joining in. However, countering Donald Trump's statement, the Union Commerce and Industries Minister Piyush Goyal said that India is now being seen as an economic bright spot in the world. Now, speaking of Donald Trump, as when we speak of the tariff bomb that is now kicked in, this is coming at a time when the White House has now made another big claim, saying that nearly 200 nations have now reached out to the United States and key partners are to be prioritized, saying that our trade team is on 24/7 mode and more executive orders that are now expected to be signed. And this is coming in from the press secretary herself, where she has gone on to say that upwards of 200 countries around the world have now reached out to the US for trade and tariff team, and negotiations and talks continue.
That have had no opportunity to negotiate with the United States.
Well, there's a lot of countries that I know have reached out. I believe it's upwards of 200 countries around the world have reached out to the trade and tariff team. Of course, as I said previously, and the president said, we're going to prioritize our key trading partners, which we have done. Like I said, of the 18, 2/3 of those we have cut these tailor-made deals with. But I do know that the trade team has been working around the clock to try to be in correspondence with as many countries as possible. But if they haven't heard from us yet, they will in the form of a letter or an executive order by midnight tonight.
So this is coming at a time when we are looking at the tariffs. Now, when it comes to the bomb that has been dropped by Donald Trump, the 1st of August there, and the White House now being saying that they are going to prioritize key trading partners. The trading team that they believe has been working round the clock and trying to be in correspondence with as many countries as possible. But they haven't heard from us yet, then they will be in the form of a letter or an executive order by midnight tonight. But this is coming at a time when Donald Trump gone ahead as far as when it comes to signing of these executive order is concerned for new tariffs on at least a dozen economies. And now it will come into effect in 7 days. And he's imposed 25% tariff on India with additional unspecified penalty when it comes to India's trade with Russia for defense equipment and crude oil, and also being a member of the BRICS platform. However, as far as India's response is concerned, earlier the statement said that they are assessing the statement that came in from Donald Trump, but India now sticks to the tough tariff stand when it comes to agriculture, when it comes to dairy, it is non-negotiable. And what has now been said through sources that India, however, will continue to open the platform for talks. As the Union Minister Piyush Goyal himself said in Parliament yesterday that they have been meeting domestic stakeholders as well, including exporters and industry, and they are now assessing the impact of the new tariffs. And he also said that the government attaches the utmost importance when it comes to protecting and promoting the welfare of India's farmers, the workers, the entrepreneurs, the exporters, the micro, small and medium enterprises, and all sections of industry. So when it comes to all of these sectors, there would be no negotiations. All right, let's